Happy video day, guys. Christina, Brooke here. Today we are doing my first impression on some new Natasha Denona. I know some of you guys have some mixed feelings about this brand new palette, but I had to pick it up as well as a lot of the other items in the collection. So I did end up picking up the Mini Xenon palette. I did pick up the Eye Crayon as well as the Work and Set brush and the Work and Set pot liner. So I picked up one of each of the items that she released in her brand new collection so that we can test out the formulas, see what's good, see what's not. I've got a lot to go over in this video. I'm going to be showing you guys this eye look and basically going over every single one of these items. But of course, if you guys are new here and you have not done so already, I would love it if you would hit subscribe, especially if you're a huge Natasha Denona fan just like me. I do have my series 1 Year, 1 Brand, where I'm picking up every single new release from Natasha Denona for the year of 2021. So if you guys want to catch up on that playlist, I will put it up here. But yeah, let's go ahead and break this down. Let's get into every single detail and let's start right now. So let's go ahead and let's start this off with the first item. Let's talk about the Work and Set. So this is a long wearing full coverage cream eyeliner. So basically it's eyeliner in a pot. It's $24 US and it's described on the website as a long wearing full coverage gel eyeliner that offers the fluid precision of a liquid eyeliner with pure color pigment. So it's supposed to be lightweight and creamy formula. So it did come in 3 different colors. It came in a black, it came in a brown, and it came in like a cream color. I opted for the brown. I typically, every time I buy these pot liners, I always get them in black. Like, it's like typical, like I always get black. So I said, no, let's go ahead and let's try out the brown. And then in order to apply the product, I did end up picking up her Draw and Diffuse brush. So this is an $18 US brush, and it's a 2-in-1 precision and blending brush. And it's described on the website as a specially crafted double-sided brush, perfect for drawing precise lines as well as smudging and blending, and it's made with synthetic fibers. So the brush is made in China, but the pot eyeliner is actually made in Italy. So this was a product that I was pretty excited for. I do like pot liners. I typically always go for black, like I said before, but I was very excited to try this out as well as this brush right here. I do love the fact that on one side it has the angled brush and on the other side it has the smudger, which the smudger is going to come in handy for the eye crayon, which I'll show you guys in a little bit. So I do have a few things to say about the cream liner. I will say in the beginning of applying this, I got a little worried because as I was putting it on, I did notice that I was starting to see a little bit of my skin through. It's not the most pigmented. So I do think that this is the type of liner that you need to build up, especially in this color. As it applies, you do see a little bit of your skin coming through, and then you got to go in, apply it again. Once I overlapped it a couple of times and created the line, I was getting a little bit more happy, and I felt like I was actually getting to a point that I actually liked the way it looked. So you know what? Let me just go ahead and show you guys. Okay, so since we have multiple things to go over in today's video, I decided that what I'm gonna do is show you guys first the Work and Set on its own on my lid, and then we'll jump into Xenon with the eye crayon. So we're gonna start with Work and Set. So this is the brush. Dual-ended brush, as you guys can see. One side has an angle brush, one side it has a smudger, and then the Work and Set, which is a pot eyeliner from Natasha. I did pick it up in brown because I have a lot of black. We're gonna go ahead and put this on the lids just like a regular cat wing eyeliner, see how it looks, and then we'll move on to the next product. So I'm just gonna go in here, grab a little tiny bit. Okay, a little tiny bit on the brush. I'm going to take off some of the excess. I don't want to have too much. I'm not going to have any shadow on my lids, just so you guys know, because I am going to work with the Xenon next. I'm going to go ahead and use the angle side of the brush, just like a typical angled brush. I am seeing a little bit of like separation, almost like, you know, like you could see your skin through. So it's not extremely pigmented, this one. So I'm just going to go ahead and go over it. I'm also going to see how much time it gives me to add a little bit more to the wing. Adding a little bit more because I do have to build up this color just a little bit because you can see the skin through somewhat. So there we go, guys, and there we have it. That is the wing. think it worked pretty decent, to be honest. So as you guys can see, at the end of the day, it ended up looking really nice. So the pot liner, I do like it. I think that it could also be the color brown. I typically have noticed that with brown cream shadows, I usually do have to build them up. Even with a black, sometimes I do find myself going over one more time. So this formula is very similar to that. Now, one interesting thing is this is actually pretty creamy. It's actually more creamy than I even expected. It's very different. It's completely different from the one that I have from Inglot. So it does have a little bit more of a creamy consistency. One thing that I'm dying to find out, but this is only going to be with time, guys, is how long this takes to dry out. Now, anytime that these things do dry out, all you got to do is get a mixing medium and pour it inside. Like, for example, I always use Inglot's Duralane. All you do is just get a drop of this and kind of just put it inside of here, and it makes it creamy again. So in case you guys didn't know about that, anytime you have a pot liner that does dry out on you, that's the way to bring it back to life. But it's going to be interesting to know how long this stays creamy and doesn't dry out. But on the lids, I will tell you, it did give me enough time to make that wing liner. It let me play with it before it dried down. And when it did dry down, it felt like it was stuck in place. I do not think that this pot liner is going to move. It literally felt like, wow, this really did dry down well. But what I did like is that it had enough time that it allowed me to kind of play with the line until I felt like I was happy with it. As I was overlapping the color, it wasn't like a lot of the color was going away from me. So at the end, I feel like I'm going to like this, but I also feel like I want to play with it longer to really get an idea of how much I like it. When it comes to the brush, I really like this angled brush. I mean, I don't think it's anything like out of this world different, but the angled brush worked really, really nice. I think it applied the liner really nice. Was it anything out of this universe? No, but I did really like the way that it applied the liner. So both of the products are good. But actually, guys, I'm pretty interested if anybody picked up the cream color of this pot liner. Let me know if you had to build it up multiple times, because I felt like the brown you did have to build it up. I feel like the black you'll probably have to build up less, but I'm wondering about that cream color. But let's move on to the star of the show. Let's move on to the Xenon palette as well as the Eye Crayon. I feel like these are going to be the products that you guys are going to be the most excited for. So let's start off with the Xenon palette. Let me give you guys some details. So the Mini Xenon is one of her newest eyeshadow palettes. It's a mini palette. It retails for $25 US. It's described as an ultimate palette featuring 5 essential shades to create Natasha Denona's signature smoky cat eye. Includes creamy mattes, highly foiled metallic, perfect for bold and defined looks with a pop of dramatic glam. And she actually says on her website that this is the only mini that includes her supremely rich and velvety blackest black eyeshadow, which you guys know that if you guys saw my Make Up Your Mind where I try to mimic this palette to get an idea of what it's gonna look like, you guys kind of know that my most sought after color in here, what I really wanted, was that black from Natasha. So we're gonna find out if that was worthwhile to me. But let's quickly talk about Macro Tech Eye Crayon. So the Macro Tech Eye Crayon is a highly pigmented eye pencil that retails for $24 US. It is coming in 3 different shades. It's coming in a brown, a burgundy, and a black. I did pick up the black because I was looking through my collection, and black, believe it or not, is a color that I don't have an eye pencil that I'm like 100% obsessed with. So I said, let's pick up a black. So it's described as a creamy eyeliner in a crayon that offers immediate full black color payoff in one stroke, even when layered on top of the most pigmented of eyeshadows. And just for those who probably want to know, it is a pencil that you do have to sharpen with a sharpener. It's also important to note that this Eye Crayon eye pencil is waterproof, and both of these products right here are made in Italy. So we've got a lot to say about these, okay? So I was basically uber excited about this palette. I feel like there is going to be a population that is not going to be into this, and I knew that going into my Make Up Your Mind. Even with this palette, not everybody loves a really deep smoky eye, nor do they think that they can use a deep smoky eye. I do think that there's different ways you can play with this palette to not only do smoky eyes. And over on Instagram at Christina Brooke Beauty, I'm going to give you guys a few examples. So I'll be posting more little reels showing you guys different ways to use this other than just a smoky eye. But besides that, let's talk about this palette. So there was multiple things that I was excited for with this palette. I mean, I really like a smoky lid, and at the same time, I'm typically used to using browns with blacks to create smoky eyes, not really grays. I usually do not jump into gray to smoke out a smoky eye. I saw this gradient of like gray to black. I was like, well, that is kind of interesting and different for what I would have expected. But guys, I have to say, the ultimate result here was pretty impressive, and let me go ahead and show you guys how we came up with this look and some of my thoughts. Okay, so now we're gonna jump into the Mini Xenon palette. So you guys have seen this little pretty little guy, and if you guys haven't seen my Make Up Your Mind, I did search for this one in my collection as well, and I'm excited to go ahead and do a fun look with this. So I think what we're gonna end up doing is a smoky eye. Why not? So instead of just doing like a whole black smoky eye, I think what we're going to do for today's video is we're going to do like an outer edge V smoky eye. If you guys want me to do a black smoky eye, let me know that down below and I will put it up on Instagram. But let's go ahead and let's start off with just this color. I kind of just want to see what this one looks like. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the crease. So I'm just going to go ahead and blend that onto the lid. So it's mostly a gray, has a tad bit of like blue in it, but it's gray. It just leans more to the blue side than the black, but it's really, really, really pretty. So that's a pretty color, and it applied pretty good. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab this color. And I mean, for being a dark, rich gray like this, I believe that the color is blending pretty nicely. Grays, in my opinion, have been a color that I know is not the easiest to do. This gray actually also leans a little to more the blue side, which is cool. Like, it's a cool look because it does lean more blue than it does to like the black side. So that's interesting. And I mean, I could see a little bit of the skin peeking through, so I'm just gonna build this up just a little bit. But I have to say that in my opinion, I think the gray actually is working pretty decently for being this tone. So now I'm just gonna get like a clean brush, like regular clean brush, and I'm just gonna blend that up. And probably just jumping a little bit into this gray one more time, just to actually do the blend a little bit. I'm just gonna kind of blend this. Okay, so far so good. Jump into a detail brush. So this one is from Bristles Beauty. I love this brush. And I'm just gonna grab this black. Ooh, I'm the most excited for it is the black. So excited for the black. I hope this black is good. Okay, so let's just go ahead and stamp that on the outer edge. It's not like a super pigmented black. It looks like you're gonna have to build it up a little bit, but that is okay because black is tricky, guys. If black is too pigmented, disaster can happen on your lid like right away, because black is also very hard to blend out if you put too much on. So the fact that it is buildable is fine. I just need it to be blendable and also pigmented. I think it did really good. I don't think it's the most pigmented black. You can build it up and continue to get darker, but I do love the way it blended. You guys see how seamless it looks? So that's what I like in a black. I don't want to see a difference between where I put the black and also where I put the gray. I want to kind of have it blend into each other. I think that's the beauty of Natasha's shadows, is that even if it's not the most pigmented black, look how beautifully blended that looks. Like, I think it like just blended into each other just fabulous. So I am a fan right now. Grab this gray and also the deep black and just kind of put this on the waterline. I'm also want to play, actually, you know what? I'm not going to put the black. Let's just put the gray, and I'm going to put the pencil on the waterline. So I'm just going to put a little bit of gray to prepare for the pencil, okay? The lightest shade right here, put that in the inner portion of the eye. Mind you, I'm still trying to decide where I'm going to put that silver, okay? So that's a nice like whitish gray color, but it's a little bit more on the white side, but that's okay. Looks nice with the smoky look. I probably would have wanted this a little peacher, but picky, picky, picky. Okay, so I'm gonna just grab this with my finger because we know that this is probably going to be the star of the show. Ooh, yes. And I don't know, where do I place it? I think I'm gonna place it here. Just gonna, oh my goodness. Yeah, that's the star of the show. I mean, I didn't expect it not to be. I mean, look at it. It's like all over my fingers. I also feel like for this kind of look, I need a little bit more precision. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab into a brush and just kind of like place this better. So the impressive thing about the silver is not really the color, it's the formula. It has glitters in it that are like insane. Look at, I mean, my hand. I hope you guys can see all the reflex that's left on my hand, but if you guys see it on my lid, this is like literally glitteriness, drama, gorgeousness, like literally absolute insanity. All right, so while I go ahead and do this side of the eye, let's go into some of my thoughts. So I honestly feel like the shadows were great. I do think that there is something to say that when you're doing a gray, I do feel like grays are not as easy of a formula to create as maybe your browns or your typical shadows that you always see. I always feel like grays are a little bit more difficult. But that being said, I think she did a very good job because the smoky eye that I created today is extremely pigmented. It has a lot of dimension to it and I really like it. I also feel like these shadows are very buildable. It's not like these mattes in here are instantaneous payoff. You do have to build them up. But when you're working with smoky eye kind of looks, I'm okay with that because I, from experience, know that if you work with very, very pigmented shadows to create a smoky lid, you can create a uber disaster. Because blending out dark shades on your lids, oh, it's almost like not even worth it. It's basically better to just clean it off and start again with a light hand. So I really like that this is a little bit more user-friendly. So I do think that people who are not maybe professionals at creating smoky eyes might find this palette to be somewhat easy because it's not so intense. The black also gave me that same impression. It's not like the most blackest black, like is being described. I feel like when you put it on, you need to kind of build it up to give it its color, and once the color is there, you get yourself that blackest black. I guess in a way I kind of understand the name because when it does apply, it applies black. It's just very faint, and then as you build it up, I start to see more and more pigment. So I kind of like the black, to be honest. I've tried blacks before that go on very strong, and oof. I personally like all the mattes. I think that they're very good. And I also really love this shadow here in the center. I feel like this is going to be the shadow that everybody's going to be the most excited for, and maybe even the black. This is a beautiful silver. Now, the interesting thing about this is not the color. It is basically the little particles of glitter in it that when you apply it on the lid, it literally looks like you put a disco ball on your lids. Like it like glistens and glitters, and this is like the ultimate New Year's palette. I will say that maybe this is not a palette that people will grab all the time, but I do think it's also a nice little add-on palette to mix with some of your other palettes. You know, you might want to use the black a lot from this palette. This gray color could also look really nice even if you wanted to mix this with your glam palette. That would be a nice mixture. You don't really have these kind of colors in the glam. And in my opinion, based off of the eye look that I created today, I really like this palette. I think that it had a nice formula. I think it blended really, really good. I like these mattes even better than her creamy mattes. I like this type of matte. It's more of the dusty mattes. I feel like they work a lot better, especially when you're trying to smoke out lids. So I do think a lot of people are going to like this. And I mean, if you guys have been hearing me talk about this in my fashion videos, then maybe some of you guys would already know that Y2K is going to be basically the theme of fall. 2000s fashion, late 90s fashion. I mean, this is screaming late 90s, early 2000s. Do you guys remember the really smoky eyes? I mean, I think it was a perfect time for Natasha to release this. I think she was jumping on the bandwagon of the kind of trend that's coming into the fall. But I do think considering the type of fashion that's coming out now for the fall, it just gives us a little bit more time to perfect those smoky cat eyes. And imagine a reverse cat eye with this. I think we're gonna do that on Instagram. Now I will say this liner I am so excited with. I think that this right here is a special formula, very, very beautiful. Now you guys are gonna see when I apply this how intensely black this liner is. Like I was expecting to have color payoff, but I don't even think I expected this much, but check this out. I hope I was able to be helpful with you guys with my thoughts, but let's jump into the liner. So this is the last thing we're gonna play with today, and this is the Micro Tech Eye Crayon. So I was reading online and she said that this little bad boy was supposed to be able to go over even the most pigmented of shadows. So yes, we are going to try this on the top lash line, but we're also going to try this on the waterline, and we're going to try to smudge it because it is supposed to be able to smudge. Love everything that's able to smudge. I'm a huge smudger. If you guys don't know what I mean by that, you will find out. But anyways, so let's go ahead and let's just add this to the waterline. Ooh. Oh, that is pigmented. Wow. Okay. This is an impressive little pencil. Okay, so let's just go ahead and add a little bit here on the lash line that I want to smudge out. Here's my little smudger. So this is part of her collection. This is her smudger pencil. And let's smudge this. And this is smudging like perfection. Oh, wow. I don't know what I like more, the crayon or this little smudger brush, but something is pretty fabulous. So yeah, smudging, spot on. Look at that. Look at that. So the eyeliner, kind of out of this world. So let's go ahead and just add this on the top. I want to see if it goes over. You know, for being a pencil, it is kind of going over the shadow, which is kind of impressive because I will say that is not the easiest thing, especially how creamy her shadows are. Let's go ahead and take off that other product on my hand because I have absolutely nothing in front of me and I'm too lazy to get up. So we're going to go ahead and just smudge out the top line. All right, I left the camera for a minute because I decided to try to put this on with both of my hands to give a little bit more pressure because I was holding up a mirror with this one. I need a little bit more pressure on this hand. And yes, doing it in a mirror like a normal person and not on a camera, you're gonna have a lot more pressure on your hand and you're gonna be able to make the line a lot better. And yes, it works over her shadow, which is pretty impressive. I keep looking in the monitor because I cannot get over how glistening the shadow is. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start working on this eye with the liner, and let's jump into some of my thoughts, and then I'm gonna show you guys my final look. But I think you guys were able to see from that clip how much color payoff this gave. It literally, on the waterline, it did not skip. If you guys have used black liners before on the waterline, you guys will probably know that sometimes you have to go over multiple times. The wetness of the waterline, it doesn't adhere to the pencil and you just have to keep on going until you get that. No, this does not do that. This was instantaneous color payoff. 100% agree with her description on it. It did work on top of her eyeshadow as well. I did use it on the top lid on purpose just to see if it can go over this intensely overabundance amount of makeup that I'm wearing at 9 a.m. on a Saturday. But it did. It actually went over it so beautifully. It did a beautiful line. Of course, I needed a little bit more pressure. So once I did get a little bit more pressure on my hand, it worked phenomenal. The smudging also did a great job. So if you guys also saw, I did use the smudger to smudge out the lower lash line. I added a little bit just on the lash line. Use this smudger to smudge it out. Perfect smudging action. So this little pencil right here, I love the most for the smudger, but since it has an angle brush on the other side, I'll take it. It's a 2-in-1 and I actually really like it. And the formula of this, phenomenal. This is an amazing eyeliner. So, but overall guys, this was my final look. This is what I was able to come out with and I am so pleasantly surprised. I was expecting that I wasn't going to like this. I don't know why. I just really was. And I have to say, I like it. I like it very, very much. My personal opinion, the all-stars inside of this whole collection is Mini Xenon and this liner. And if anything, I even think the liner is even more spectacular. I'm just so obsessed with the pigmentation of it that I almost feel like this is even more exceptional than the Mini Xenon. But both of these are probably my favorite products out of this collection. The pot liner is also good, but also a product that I feel like I want to play with a little bit longer. It didn't give me the wow factor of the other two. I do also really like this dual-ended brush, but I don't think it's for everybody. If you guys like to smudge out the lower lash line and you don't have a brush like this, yeah, it's cool because you get 2-in-1. And if you guys enjoy that, it's a nice brush to have. Both sides work really nice. But that is it. That is everything that I have for today's video. I want to know from you guys right now down below, if you pick this up, what are your thoughts? Help your friends out down below. Tell them what you guys are thinking, because I love to read your opinions on things. Let your friends know if you picked up any of the other colors. Did they work out for you? Start a conversation down below, and I love to read what you guys have to say anyways. But thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe so I show up on your timeline once again, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.